We must be live. I'm not.
Yes, we are. We are live.
Good morning. I'm always like going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Good morning and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I am Dr. Lori Monaco, the badass Buddha from Align Yourself Inc. I am a speaker. I am a coach specializing in transformation and mindfulness practice. I am a chiropractic physician. And I am also known as the weight loss doc for my empowering and successful weight loss program. And I am coming to you from sunny but cold as shit, Connecticut. 21 morning.
20 degrees?
21 degrees, yes.
Oh my goodness. And I'm here all cold at 60 something.
It's a different
you know what? It's just a different cold. Florida cold is wet. So the 60 here is like a 40 back home. It's weird. But anyway, good morning, mi gente. Buenos días. Namaste. Aquí con la Margarita from Tampa, Florida, your spiritual and creative healing life coach. If you're in the Tampa area and you need some notarized paperwork or to get married, come see about me. Good morning, buenos días, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche.
The week before Thanksgiving, lots and lots of interesting conversations with Thanksgiving, and we had our conversation on Tuesday, Guru, and then I noticed over the next couple of days, or Tuesday and yesterday, it just kept going with friends and who's getting together, who's not getting together, who can't get together. There's some states that have actually squashed gatherings. I have friends that live in Colorado, and they said that they're not allowed to have any type of gathering over X amount of people. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
I think Philadelphia.
You know what that makes me wonder then? Does that mean that what's those couple of families that are on TV that have like 19 kids? Does that mean they have to split up for the holidays? Sorry, you can't, there's so many of you go over the allotted amount.
I don't know. But yeah, it's they do that for safety reasons, but to me it's also scary how they are so controlling our everything.
I'm right.
Like, what's the purpose of you allowing me somewhere if I took the COVID test, but families can't get together? Why can't families just, whoever is like suspect, go take a test? Or if you haven't seen that family member in a while, just say, just for the safety of the family, can you please take a test? I think that should be, that's our civil rights to say, we, do precautionary testings if you have to, if you're going to come together. I don't know. It's not even about the gathering. It's about them telling us how we can do things with our families. That's kind of scary to me. I don't know how anybody else feels. But anyway, yes. Good morning. Lori, your shirt is beautiful today. Tell us about it.
Good segue in. So I'll tell you about mine. Yes, and I have to note that Michelle says, good morning, Michelle and Tiffany. They're both jumped on. Natalie's on. And I see you got your watch party started. Janine is on. So good morning to y'all. Michelle says, you both look extra beauteous today. Fabulous word. Laura, I've never seen you with your hair up. Yes, because when I would put my hair up, Michelle, the chins would take away from my structured face. So now that I have lost so much weight, I'm having a lot of fun putting my hair up because I have a long face anyway. But then when you have a long face and then a fat long face, it's just even worse. So now that it's skinnier, yes, I thank you. I appreciate that. Plus, I really suck at doing my hair. That's the other problem. So I just throw it up, and this just happened to work. So thanks. I appreciate that.
I love it. I love it. You know me, I love different stuff. I think you look great.
Let me tell you about this shirt. And Tiffany's saying it's 34 in Baltimore. So yeah, she feels it. She feels it. Glad we have warm hearts. That's what Tiffany said. Yes, girl, that's right. And Michelle says, my nursing colleagues are saying it's getting really bad. The testing sites are over inundated. Yeah, I saw that on the news yesterday. They're just crazy. because people want to go somewhere. So, right. So one of the things that Guru brought up this morning, she sent me a text and she said, let's make sure that we push local artisans just like we started to on Tuesday. And we will keep doing that every little bit until the holidays, you know, until Christmas and Hanukkah and whatever you celebrate comes, because we want to shop locally. And, you know, this is, I know it's a hard time of the year because you're going to be getting things shipped to you. And sometimes it's so much easier to just go for Amazon. And sometimes Amazon does use, they have local people on there, but utilize, you know, go on to Etsy, go on to these other things, or go local, like literally local. So for me, I was trying to find some local stuff last minute, but for me, this thing, I bought 2 of these and I got them from the Big E. And if you know, if you live in New England, you know what the Big E is, which they didn't have this year, the Eastern States Fair. It's a huge fair and it encompasses all the New England states, and everybody who's local to that area brings their stuff and they sell it there. So they really took a big hit this year because, in fact, I was thinking about this and I thought maybe the Big E might have put some sort of special website up to highlight the people that normally sell things and then sell online. I didn't look into that, but hopefully they did something like that. But this was, I don't remember the name of the company, but they were local. So they're in one of the New England states. But the one that I do have, so this one's out of New Hampshire. This is called Third Shift Fabrication. They make metal stuff, and I love metal art. That's one of my favorite things, whether it's indoor or outdoor. And so they make stuff that's totally up my alley. You know, this is the Tree of Life stuff, like wall hangings. But the coolest thing that they make, okay, they make a lot of really cool stuff, but one of the coolest things that they make is, I don't know if you can see it.
The owl. I see the owl.
See that ball? You see this thing right here? That's a fire pit. It's a 3-dimensional fire pit, and it has like designs, and when the fire is lit up, you see the shadows of the design. So freaking cool. And they're out of Meriden, New Hampshire. ThirdShiftFab.com and ThirdShiftFab at Etsy.com. So check them out. How about you, my dear? Remember we told you, if you make stuff, soaps, essential oils, jewelry, anything, if you make things, if you put it up there. If you have a service, put it up there and try, put your contact info on. So go ahead. Google.
Yes. So my local business that I will be announcing today to encourage all of you as the holiday seasons approach, shop small business. Michelle, if you can send us some of your things, some pictures of your things, we would love to do that as well. So today is Exceptional Me Jewelry.
She's wearing her hand.
This is what she made and sent for me because it's big and gaudy, like I like my things. So this is it. It's beautiful. It's gold. You can't really, I'm trying to get away from the light.
I know, it just reflects off a bit.
Okay, so I turned it off. So here it is with the black beads. And then these beads are beautiful with little gold designs on it, which you can't see either. And then you got the Hamsa hand. So here it is. Woo. I like it because when people look at it, they get to look at my breast.
And Guru and her breasts.
That's it. I love them.
Warm again. Wait till it gets warm again. Let's just get out there. And hopefully we'll have a much bigger audience. Wait, so I got to point something out. So Guru has an art collection called The Power of Pussy, right? So and her goal is to, or her vision really is to empower women, to empower that word, because that word tends to be like associated with men and it's kind of like bad, and she wants us to embrace that, right? So she put a little TikTok, right? It was on TikTok. So a little TikTok thing that she put together, little video, and what it starts off with, it shows the sign that says Power of Pussy. And I was looking at her social media, and we were on the phone, and it has that video and then 2 videos flanking it. And I look and I'm going, damn, you like tripled your engagement views with the Power of Pussy video. I said, and it's probably because of the name. It just grabs you. All I see is pussy really big. And then it's like all these people All I could think of is I just wonder how many guys jumped on thinking, oh, this is going to be like, I'm going to, this is going to be something. I'm going to see some actual pussy. They came on for that reason. I mean, it's fabulous because it shows her artwork, but I'm thinking like, how many went on there for like the wrong reason? But hey, you know what?
Well, that was the whole concept behind that piece. Just that word is such a strong word and it's used so negatively. And, we're the breeders of life who own pussies, right? So I don't see what the big thing is about the word. We have to take our like power back. And it just talks about, I have a voiceover in the TikTok video reading parts of my mission statement of the power of pussy. And all it talks about how women are the strongest species in the universe. And most of the time we forget that shit. So we remove our crown and we put it in a closet collecting dust. And that art series and the mission statement is to remind each individual woman that you are the most powerful being in the universe. So whatever word is used, own that shit. We are the breeders of life.
That's right.
Or the awesome aunties for those who choose not to be mommies. I didn't want to be a mommy. I didn't want to be a mommy. And here I am, 4 grandkids in. That's a surprise.
And Dory's on. Good morning, Dory. So Dory said, good morning, ladies. And then Michelle says, it's a gorgeous statement piece. Nice work, Lillian. And Dory says, good morning. Of course she does. So Dory, we're going to, Dory's got 2 radio shows, right, Dory? So just and Dory, put your info in there so people know so that they can watch your radio show too. But we've had Dory on, right? We had Dory on.
Yes, we have.
And we want to have Dory back on again. But Dory also has a night show, which is a little bit more risque, I guess. Not risque. I mean, like it's just a little bit bolder. And that is where Guru and I fit in. God only knows it's going to come out of our mouths. So it's Friday night, right? So Guru and I were talking about it, and we're going to see about jumping on tomorrow night's show. And so we're going to finalize that with Dory tomorrow. So anyway, but yes, put your stuff in. Michelle, I want you to send me pictures, and then I'm going to start posting. In fact, right, Guru, this sounds good. I know we got to get going with Byron because Byron's got a great conversation. We have to do our intention and our mantra. But send us your services. Do it by message through Viva or whatever. Just tag, I don't know, however you could get it to us, email, whatever you want to do. I think our email, right, is vivacafeconleche2@gmail.com. But send us your pictures of what you make and what you sell, how to buy these things. If you have a website, great. If you just have an Etsy site, that's fine, whatever. But just give us the information. If it's a service that you provide, fine, just put it up there. And we're going to start posting on the Viva site and on our social media as well on the Viva sites. And then we'll share it. And then we're going to ask you as the tribe to share it as well to get things rocking and rolling for people. And, let's share the love. Let's do this. Let's work together. Right?
Yes, let's do that. And we will be talking more about holidays with COVID and how we can help and how we can make the world a beautiful place. Lori and I went out and had so much fun creating 5 videos each and spreading kindness on World Kindness Day. They're on TikTok, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook. So I want to propose to Lori that we carry that out all the way to New Year's Eve and just remind people, because no, just making sure that the kindness piece is in everything we do as we're entering the holidays with COVID, because last week's show was phenomenal. And I think we just, everyday life is going to knock us down. So let's help them rise with a smile, love, send us your stuff. And Iris says, ooh, Lori, Monaco looking beautiful.
Look like shit normally because.
Good morning. No, you just look different. So yes, mi gente, that's what we're going to do. But let's bring Byron on so he doesn't get restless.
It's okay. I really just try. That's what it is.
But your intention, my love.
Yes. So, and I believe it's also a Maya Angelou week for me. So if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. So that's, you're going to set the intention. So for today, as you go through your day, if you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude.
That's it. Change how you look at it. That's so, change is so difficult for many, but I love that. Maya Angelou's the bomb. My mantra is, thoughts are filled with positivity and my life is plentiful with prosperity.
One more time.
My thoughts are filled with positivity and my life is plentiful with prosperity. I like that one.
And you know, this is a really good time for especially that intention in the mantra, because with regards to tying in what we talked about on Tuesday, you know, people are really going to start feeling it as we get closer. Thanksgiving is going to be hard enough for people not to get together. But then when you start saying that's not, like, I think there's a hope that, okay, if we don't get together for Thanksgiving, we'll be able to get together for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever religious holiday you celebrate, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, whatever. But if that doesn't happen and we see that it's not going to happen, it's going to hit people hard. And it's hard enough around the holidays. People get very depressed and people, you know, get very anxious. Depression comes in for various reasons. Anxiousness sometimes comes in just because you got to see your family. So maybe that'd be a good thing for some of those people. But nonetheless, the connection needs to be there. So this is a great time to have our conversation with one of our favorite guests. So Byron is back, and Byron Roquemore, and we're going to talk about mental health and then substance abuse. And this is just the beginning of a conversation. Like, this would literally be part one of a conversation with Byron about this, because we can talk so for like a whole 1 hour, 2 hours of show time about mental health and substance abuse. So let's get Byron on.
Get him on.
How is he getting on? Because he's not in the, he didn't log in.
You didn't log in, Byron. Are you logged on?
Oh, here he goes. Okay, there we go.
There he is. Yeah, he's looking at me like I'm stupid.
He's in our sanctuary today, so we're going to see how this works.
Good morning, Byron.
We don't hear you yet. It's coming. Hit the audio. There we go. You got it? No? No, we can't hear you yet. I like that background, Guru.
See me, but you can't see me, right?
Yeah, we can see you. Yeah, I painted the elephant trunk around my fan.
But we can't hear you, Byron. We hear you like in the background.
Oh, you can hear him through my mic? Oh, this is going to be fun.
No, but I think once his mic comes on, we probably won't notice it. Because it's pretty low.
We're so close together. Can she actually hear me?
You gotta go in the bathroom, man. You
got it? Un momento, mi gente. You got it?
No.
What if you guys just sat next to each other? Maybe that would work. Oh no, because
okay.
Phones, right?
You got it now?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, there I go. Can you hear me?
See, the woman fixes it.
Yeah. And I'm totally okay with that.
Power of pussy, I tell you.
I'm totally okay with that. How you doing this morning, young lady?
Byron, how are you, my love? How's everything going?
Good.
How are you handling the colds? Because Drew's complaining. How you doing with it?
With the COVID?
The cold.
The cold. What cold? This is Tampa, Florida. There is no cold. Oh, you just want me to empathize with your plight of cold?
No, because I'm cold.
Oh, that's another story. But that's a whole nother story. But nah, it's beautiful out here and sunny Tampa, and so we have no cold. We just enjoying ourselves. Everything's good.
Fabulous.
Everything's good.
All right. So talk to us. So I have a couple of questions, but we don't have to necessarily follow suit with this. It's like we're going to let you roll with this. But so some of the things that we can talk about, what are the most common mental health issues today? Which groups are most susceptible? Do we still have a social stigma with mental health issues? How connected are mental health issues and substance abuse? And what are the most common substances abused today? So we got to get that all done in 35 minutes.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you just hit me. What's on your mind about what's going on? I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so people are using. But how it relates to women. I think one of the first things you asked was the common mental health issues. I think that would be anxiety disorders.
Hold on, we're getting feedback. Now we're getting feedback from it.
Really?
Yeah, we were just a second ago.
Go ahead.
Okay, try it again. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You're still getting feedback?
A little bit, but it's not as bad as it was.
Really? Okay. I'll try it again. So, okay, me and Margie sharing space. We usually don't share space. See what happens when we share space?
Yeah, see, as soon as you start going, the feedback kicks in.
Maybe if I talk. So how can you gonna share the area?
It's probably because, yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Hold on, this is what I can do.
Go to the living room.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna zoom out and zoom back in.
Nothing but flexible.
In the library room, you can sit.
Yeah, I will do that. I will see you later.
Your coffee.
I'm fine.
And flowing to make it work.
Okay, let's get this flowing for the folks. Listen, Byron just came.
And then we need to get Guru. We need to get you. What's the problem with your computer? The speaker's not working anymore on yours?
No, so I have to use headphones. I gotta find out if they charge at Apple. Good morning, Lillian. I hope you were on when I displayed your beautiful piece and small business shopping at exceptionalmejewelry.com.
Yep. Good morning, Francia. Good morning, Marina. Good morning, Orlando. Oh, and listen, Guru, I was thinking, how like on TikTok, you were telling me about those people that do the videos and then they're asking for things and saying that they need something. So, Guru needs, her speaker's not working on her laptop. So she needs like somebody to fix it.
Somebody send us a speaker.
New laptop, so we'll get a P.O. box going and, you send her.
And get her what she needs.
I love my computer.
It don't love you today.
Okay, back to the question. So you think anxiety disorders?
Yes, that would be for mental health issues. That's one is prevalent because a lot of people won't claim it or they won't seek any help for it. I think when we talk about what's going on with like mental health issues and mental health diagnosis, there's a difference. There's a difference. First, I gotta tell you, like for me, if anybody is like hearing me, if you are a mental health professional, then I'm coming at it. I'm giving out information. So what I've done for like the last 20 years working in the field with mental health, substance abuse, is not give the treatment, but more so making sure that persons are getting the help they're needing, like navigating them through the systems. So what I did when the information comes to me, I make sure the person gets to the right doctor to see the right thing and get treatment teams around them. That's kind of my specialty. So when I hear stuff and when I hear people say, well, I have mental health issues, then I kind of go back and say, well, mental health, everybody has mental health. We're doing mental health to me is building up your mental state. So like now, this is a mental health practice for us. We're talking about positive things and, you're doing your namaste and showing us the big, the big jewelry and things like that. Yeah. You're doing all that. And, and everybody's looking great and making sure they look good. To me, that's a mental health practice of, of doing things to build up your status of health mentally. Now, when we say a person has mental health problems or mental health diagnosis, to me, that's totally different. There's a difference there. So when somebody, and with that difference, and a lot of people don't know, when you say it, it gives people who's like stand back, or they kind of say, oh, you got mental health issues, and then nobody wants to talk about it because it's like, it's like I'm not supposed to have a mental health issue, or if I'm a man, I'm really not supposed to have a mental health issue, and if I'm a woman, go ahead.
The stigma is still there, and you would think after all this time, with all our knowledge, it wouldn't be. And I don't know if you remember this, but a few years, and I don't know if it was more local up here, it was like a public service announcement, kind of commercial, but they had a commercial a few years back that would it would show like different people and like a child and then an adult, and it said, if I told you I had cancer, would you still talk to me? If I told you I had, would you still talk to me? But if I told you I had depression, would you walk away? If I told you I had anxiety, would you shun me? And it was trying to show the difference that we're so sympathetic with certain diseases, except mental health disease.
Because we think a person should just fix it.
Yes.
Yeah. Snap out of it. Nothing's wrong with you. You pull yourself up by your bootstraps, shake it off, man. Why are you crying? You're supposed to be happy. Everything is good for you. Why are you not happy here? All these things. And so, I think we do that for a few reasons. Well, one, that the more we deal with mental health issues, we understand that, any one of us can have an episode or go through something. Any one of us can do that. We can go, but it's just an episode. When we start going to mental health illness in diagnosis, that's deeper than that, because then it's persisting, is ongoing. It's not, it comes in flashes, or it comes in states that are more severe than the last time. And a lot of times when people are doing things, they really can't even connect how it started, when it started, or how it happened. So when you're talking to a person and you're trying to explain to them, if you have a mental health issue, what's going on with you, and if they're not really astute, it just sounds like they're whining or babbling or not on point. So then, like you said, with all our knowledge and all our information, that's good and bad, because a lot of times people are diagnosing themselves now. they look at YouTube and say, so, oh, now I'm a schizophrenic, or I'm bipolar, and they don't know that, you have to deal with the professionals, let them help you, but also help yourself. And sometimes, maybe I always tell people, if you can't keep up with yourself, get your journal and start logging some information down, and maybe you can go back and look and see, what's going on. And then if everybody tells you that you're crazy, because they don't know any better, you crazy, maybe you need to just, like we always say to you, Margie, maybe you need to just slow yourself down and then take a look at yourself. Because with mental health issues, if you're not dealing with your health and trying to build it up like we're doing today, then the world can come down on you. We got the COVID going on. We have the holidays when they're telling everybody that you can't be together as families. We just came from an election that, if you're, whatever side of the fence you're on, there's turmoil. So it's a lot of turmoil going on. So that adds to anxiety.
Yes, absolutely.
I have a comment from Iritza, because she was in deep depression. If she wants to share more, she can. She says that, my cousin Iris. So I really hate when people used to tell me to shake it off and put my big girl panties on.
There's so much to be said about big girl panties, but
back to anxiety.
But it is
another show.
That's another show. But I like that listen, you can see the healthy part in even the statement that she was willing to start talking about it, instead of being in her head saying, well, I'm not going to say that because this is what they're going to say. I think in order for us to conquer the illness and deal with it on a stronger level, conversation and dialogue must happen. Absolutely. And you have to kind of free yourself of all the stigmas of what goes on. A lot of times people have so many mental health issues. What they do are use drugs to try to cover up the voices, try to cover up the feelings of anxiety. And then
Okay.
that slides into addictions, and that slides into the comorbidity. It slides into the dual diagnosis, the co-occurring disorders, and all these things, and it kind of enmeshes. It's like sticks together. And then after a while, the person can't differentiate when did it start or when did it stop. You know what I'm saying? So when you're even doing treatment with them, they can't even really tell you like when did it start and when did it stop. So you just got to do all this collateral information trying to, well, I guess I don't try to figure out the origin. I just kind of figure out where they're at now, at that point, where they're at now, and then try to work from them
Byron,
there.
do you think that a very high percentage of substance abusers actually have things like depression and anxiety? Like, do you think that that would encompass most of the people become addicted to things?
That's a great question. That's great. I think that you would say what. So let's do this. There's a thing like we call co-occurring disorders or a dual diagnosis, and that means there's two problems going on. Okay, I think if a person has a mental health issue, there's two problems going on, whether it's a substance abuse issue or it's a physical issue or an ailment, maybe diabetes or something of that. And the same as a substance abuse person, they have two issues going on. If it's, or maybe even more, because it could be a mental health issue that's tied into them drinking. And when they drink, they're diabetic, and then they go into shock. So all this is like tied into like a continuum. And so when you're looking at, I think majority of the time, if a person has a substance abuse issue, then there's usually a mental illness or an issue there, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't help one without the other. In other words, like if you're going for treatment for substance abuse, you have to deal with all the other stuff to be able to be successful in the treatment of substance abuse. And it's the same the other way around. If you only treat this piece, the other piece will, and that one's just overlooked, then the other, you'll never be fully rid of it. Like you'll never fully get it under control if you don't deal with every piece. Yes.
I would go back to even having a client who's a diabetic and who's not coming to terms that he's a diabetic, who keeps drinking and passing out and almost dying after he drinks, and then he'll tell you that he don't know why he drank. So you see how that all ran together, and then so it's a vicious cycle that, you know, if a person has severe mental health issues and they're kind of getting that drug to try to stop the voices and stuff, then you kind of have to kind of do it like an acuity check and say, okay, what can I deal with right now? First thing, I gotta get them stable. First thing I have to get them voices down. I can't get rid of the voices, but maybe I get them voices to tell them not to drink, or maybe I gotta deal with that mental health issue kind of first. And then I have to kind of deal with that, him not drinking or him not using, given some time. And I keep telling everybody, when you're dealing with mental health, substance abuse, physical issue, it takes time. It takes time. It takes time. It's very difficult for a person with a severe mental health issue who has found drugs to be a friend for him, to get him through those mental health episodes, to try to disassociate that he shouldn't use to be okay.
Well, well, only I just wanna. Iris wrote, "That's true, Byron. That's what my son does. He is bipolar, but self-medicates and became an addict."
Right. Well, he wasn't drinking when he started, and it slowly kind of, it's just not a clinical term, but we always would talk about somebody get slow walking themselves to a point. Same thing with I talk to people who use crack, and they always thought, crack was merciful to me, and I said, what do you mean by that? And they said, well, crack made my life so unmanageable so quickly that it didn't give me a chance to build up all these negative behaviors and negative, mental health, all this other stuff. Unlike if I drank for 20 years, I have built up a wall of defense against you telling me that something's wrong in my life. So that adds on to my own, self-importance. But remember, majority of the time, if there's a disease of addiction or there's a person who's an addict, they're ego driven. So they're saying, you know, everything's about me, 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 me. If there's a person who's with mental health issues also, which is kind of 99% of it going on, then they're fading in and out on you, and they're doing the me, me, me also. So all that's going on, which can definitely be dealt with. It can definitely be dealt with, but it has to be, you have to know what you're dealing with. Best thing you can do when you're dealing with people is to hear them and try to meet them where they are.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Let me give some shout outs because we're going to go on. Lillian, Erica Balahala, Luis Molina from Spain, my taxi driver, bienvenido.
Taxi.
Erica Balahala, Francia, Lillian, my daughter Tiffany, Dios te bendiga, and my granddaughter Anaya, hello, beautiful, and my sis Maria Garcia. But you know what?
Nan is too. Say hi to Nan. And Michelle.
Hi, Nan.
Michelle says, I just love Byron. You should have him on once a month.
There we go. He likes doing charity work. So Iris said something about the lines you were saying, because her son would not go to the doctors for his medication, so he thought he'd buy them on the street, and then that led. So she said, yeah, like people say, I won't do heroin, but I'm still gonna smoke pot, and she says it's a trigger.
Yeah, you know, well, you got to think use, abuse, and addictions. So everybody who uses is not an addict, and everybody who abuses drugs still not an addict. It's kind of it's a progressive state, you know. So you kind of get to one point to the next. Some people are predisposed for addiction because of the parents and everything going on with them, and how they've been, you know, the parents been using drugs for so long in a family, like, you know, in my family per se. We have a history of substance abuse, use, mental health, things of that nature. Now, in the past, we didn't deal with it. You know how mental health people, it's kind of like pedophiles in your family. You know, no one says anything. They just tell you not to sit on Uncle Tommy's lap. Okay. Not to say anything about you, Uncle Tommy, but you know what I'm saying? but that's what they would say. Okay, the person had a severe mental health issue, they might just put them in a room at a certain time. You know, we didn't deal with things like that, and now, especially Blacks, Latinos, Hispanics. I'm being politically correct for you.
Thank you.
Yes,
appreciate that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Latinx stuff, but that's
yeah,
different. That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. But
that's a millennial thing.
That's a millennial thing.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to kind of look at those issues as a ethnic group, because when I was younger, when we heard people, a white person says, "I'm going to go see my therapist," we was like, "Oh, they're crazy." That's what we would say. Okay. And now we want to go see our therapist.
now we become therapists.
Now we become therapists. Right. Who knew, right? Who knew that mental health issues were so close to us at all times, and we just couldn't identify it. We didn't have enough knowledge to deal with it. And now we're coming to a point that we can identify it, and we have the ability to deal with it.
I think, can I say something in defense? First of all, Lori, Erica Balahala, one of our former co-workers and really close friends, said, do not give Byron a big head.
Wow. See.
But anyway, I think growing up, like
on that comment, by the way.
Say it again, young lady.
I said, I'm glad you stayed shut on that comment. Years return, and you wanted to say something about what that.
I'm bringing it in. I'm bringing it in.
When the three of us are together, it's like people think we're gonna kill each other, but it's just love.
Yeah.
But you know, in defense of growing up in my Puerto Rican household, and the drinking, and back then, I'm dating myself, but back then acid was high. You know, it was before the crack era. We're talking early middle 70s. Yeah. So you know, so you had that, and then you did have, every family had somebody with a mental illness. So we fed them, we tolerated them, we helped dress them, and then we knew at a certain time they had to go to bed. But
Mhm.
I think that with not having the knowledge of what it was, but having the compassion and the love to want to care for your family member. So I think that's why it never became a big issue, except for Uncle Tommy's. Uncle Tommy's, we all were told, when he comes over, I want you in your room playing. We never knew. Later on, you find out, like you're wondering, why the fuck did you just tell him not to come to our house? But again, it was that era in the lives that we grew up to understand. So go ahead. I just wanted to say that. It's more of a care, compassion. Nobody needs to know our business, like going to a therapist.
Perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that the communicate, when you were saying, Byron, that communication is key, absolutely. Conversations have to come out. But I think the hardest part for most people is that even those that are willing to have the conversations, they cannot figure out how to separate the subjectiveness behind it. It's always like, in order for you to have a conversation, you have to be objective. And when you're talking to a family member and the family member's confiding in you saying, I can't handle things, I can't do this. And I think it brings up a lot of crap for the other person too. So if the other person even has a mild mental health challenge, you know, that when they're talking to this other person about the other person's depressed or anxious, they feel stuff coming up for them. And so they sort of wash it under, oh, it's just, you know, don't worry about this. It's just this. And especially with men, because men are supposed to be a certain way. It's like women can cry. It's like, it's we cry. It's like, whatever, you're a woman. But when a guy feels like crying, and especially if he confides in another guy, it's like, they can't handle that. But even women, as nurturing as we can be, if your man comes up and says, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I want to cry. Like, we put this judgment on them. Like, you know, you're supposed to be like this tough dude. It's like, what are you talking about? You want to cry, you know? And we again, it's like, we just have these ideas of how things should be. And so in order for things to be solved, one, you have to know you have a problem. Like you have to have an awareness. You have to have, you know, that there's a problem exists to be able to fix it. But those surrounding have to be objective. As hard as it can be, we have to say, okay, I'm just going to listen to you. Tell me what's going on. And then let me see how I can direct you or help you. And then admit it, you know, as opposed to fighting it all the time. Because I
don't even think you got to be that intuitive.
No.
You know, in the past you did, but now you don't, because there's so many opportunities. There's so many avenues of help. So, for example, a lot of things. You said a lot of stuff. One thing you said is when people are telling you something's wrong and they're close to you, it's very difficult for you not to wear it. And you not say, you know, are you talking about me? Or, you know, are you trying to, what you trying to say? That I didn't do something? If you're married to a person, they say, well, this house is too much for me and I'm feeling overwhelmed. In your mind, you're saying, well, what did I do to make you feel overwhelmed? It didn't have anything to do with you. They're just saying that they felt overwhelmed. And like you said, you got to get you out of it. But I think if you're not able to do that, the best thing you can do is say, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I don't even like the way it feels for me when you talk like that. How about we go get some help? I think this is the biggest thing we can say now. We don't have to be therapists. We don't even have to be smart about it. We could just say, let's go get some help. There are so many qualified people who can who can even qualified people struggle being good. So, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's why I always think of, if I know a therapist and he doesn't see anybody, he doesn't talk to a therapist, then I have problems with him. Even a pastor that doesn't speak to anybody but him.
I say that about coaches. If you're not getting coached by somebody for something, then don't go to them.
I remember, if I'm the smartest person in the room, there's a problem. Again, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, there is. I should not be the smartest person in the room. I don't want to even be in that room if I'm the smartest person there. So I don't.
Yeah,
I love think about it. I love talking with you all because the information
you're not the smartest over there, right? So you're good to go over at Margie's house.
Oh, I would never be the smartest person in Marjorie's presence. Okay. I could have a book of knowledge in it. Now let me stop. Let me stop. See,
you're in the next room. I easily have access to you, so watch it.
yeah, I take that back, Margie. No, I don't. So another thing, I want to get on. I'm still staying on subject, but this is something that has been an issue due to the time of me doing treatment, is the criminalization of the use of drugs, and how stigmas go so heavy. Crack cocaine, and like you talked about Brooklyn and back in the days, how all those people was getting those long sentences for crack cocaine, and they criminalized it, but how they sensationalized cocaine, how painkillers wasn't an issue, or meth, or that wasn't even an issue until it kind of spilled over into other communities.
Thank you.
It's such a big deal. I hate to do things, I mean, you was talking about, and you said, well, why you had to throw that into it, like race or something like that. But sometimes, for me working in the field so long, at first I did not think of race as an issue with substance abuse and mental health until I saw the services and how they was allocated out. And I saw that for women, if you wasn't pretty, you didn't get services. If you wasn't pretty, you didn't get services. They make sure, they make sure, and then if you was Black and wasn't pretty, you definitely didn't get services. Okay? If you was an Hispanic woman who had a darker tone to them, and your hair wasn't completely straight, you didn't get services. If you was a white female and you didn't have a tooth in your mouth, then they didn't want to deal with you. It's so funny that the only way you was going to get the treatment that you needed, that you had to be pretty. So people was running off stereotypes at that point. And I would see it every day. And the moment you would say anything in the courtroom, the judges would be irate and upset, because then, like you said, they didn't want to be challenged, or they didn't want to take their subjectivity out of it. So wow. So when we go even to treatment, that treatment is stigmatized. Yes. Treatment itself. For years, that when I worked in treatment, we didn't allow, we didn't have, at first it went in trends, because long periods of time, women was not going to get treatment, because a woman's supposed to be home taking care of the family. You don't have time to do treatment. You don't have a right to go get treatment. And then that was kind of the word being said, not out loud, but sublime in the treatment world. Okay. Then it kind of got out of that. So then we'll say, okay, they'll take the pretty girls. Okay. So the pretty girls got to do the treatment. But the ugly girls, stay home. You can't get treatment. You ugly. You shouldn't even be trying to get help. Well, I don't even know what's wrong with you. I mean, seriously.
I know Eric used to tell me the stories.
I'm telling you, this is real. This is not something I'm making up. This is something that went on for years, and it's still going on. I'm just not there to advocate and yell and scream and go crazy and get locked up by the judges for saying, you let that young lady that pretty young lady who violated and used 12 times, you let her go back to treatment. And you let that Black female who smoked crack once, you send her to prison. Absolutely not. No, I did not. Yes, you did. No, I did not. Yes, you did. And look at the record. Let the record show. This is what you did. So, and this is from me. People don't know me. I've done over 10,000 cases. Okay, over the 20-year period. They kind of got the numbers together for me and set them down and show me how many cases that I went through. So I went through over 10,000 cases. So I might not know a lot, but I know a little bit more than the average person about this.
I'd say so.
And what a terrible way that, even if you're not the best in the world, you still can't get the help that you need. And that further puts women back. And it further puts us as a country and as a community back. Yeah, it does. Because when you don't have the woman, if people can say what they want, if the woman's not stable, the home is not stable. Crack cocaine killed the Black American community. Why? Because the woman. you know, the Black America was able to survive atrocities of slavery. Crack cocaine hit worse than slavery. Why? Because as long as the woman is intact, she'll say, "You get home, you go to bed." She keeps the kids in order. So then you don't have the young men out 13, 14 years old out in the street shooting, and all that doesn't even happen when the woman's in place. The man don't have to be there because half the time men been rolling stones anyway. So that has not been the issue. And every man, you already know, we ain't got to sit there and discuss that. So every man knows that too, and don't say anything different. All men listening, don't say nothing different because you know that's true. Okay, if the woman is not stable, then the entire home is unstable. Period.
That's
So
a really
when
good point. That's a really good point. And now that I'm thinking of people in my head of that I know that have dealt with substance abuse, and you're right, when the woman was thrown, was the one that was abusing the drugs, the shit hit the fan.
Yeah,
I never really thought about that, but that's absolutely true.
It's the backbone. It's the backbone of the house. You know, in some cases, of course, the man can take over and he can make things right. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. However, as a whole, especially in the Black community, women have historically been there and taken care of things. Made sure when a light goes out in the street that you was home. When crack came and infiltrated about 78, 80, 82, 83, then that woman who told you, because people use cocaine and smoke marijuana at that point in time and use acid, like she said. And cocaine was the rich man's drug. So unless you went to a real high profile party and got to get then you really didn't get to touch it. And then you still got up the next day and went to work. However, crack is so debilitating and makes your life so unmanageable so quick that 20-year-old, 25-year-old, 35-year-old mother, no, at that time it was like the 35-year-old mother, starts to use crack, and you get her out the picture. Now you have the 15-year-old, the 16-year-old, and the 18-year-old with no guidance. And now you have a form of cash available in the area to sell crack that never been in the Black community. That was a whole nother criminality. There was a whole nother undercurrent of divisiveness that murdered that.
Uh-oh, he froze.
He froze?
Excuse me.
Oh, there
That's all right.
I gotta get me a laptop too.
Yeah.
I gotta get me a laptop.
Tiffany said, "Preach, Byron." Period.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that you're never the smartest person in the room. She said that, not me. You tell me.
Oh man. Oh man. I'ma stop.
No, listen, that really touched because, you know, my dad, 3 months prior to him dying, you know, he was a weekday alcoholic and a weekend crackhead. But we called him el motofino because you would see daddy, his hair was always done up, dressed in black, head to toe, neat, iron. So he was a motofino. I don't know how you say that in English. A functioning alcoholic / you know, crackhead. And that's how I grew up, because both my parents were alcoholic. But, you know, we lived off the system, so that wasn't really hard. But what you say is, when that happened, a lot of children from that crack era, even ones that I know, they didn't grow up to do the same thing. A lot of children had that insight to know different and do better, and today are doing exactly what you're talking about. They're working with the substance abuse individuals. So I mean, it ruined families. Like what? How much you could say? 75% of families across the nation.
Yes.
Well, on this part, because meth ruined it for them, like in Arizona and that way. But yeah, that was touching what you said, because I'm sitting here listening to you, and then all the flashbacks come back. But still, you know, it's still it was a sad moment, but the ending is still good.
Oh yeah. I think everybody's gonna get through things like we're doing with the COVID. I think people are resilient. People are gonna figure out ways to do so. People like to get high because it allows them to get away. Marijuana is shooting up now. Is legal, and so that's becoming a viable income, viable way of hiding. The Bible, but we always call that the gateway drug, like alcohol, and it just opens up so many doors. Now, older people will tell you the marijuana that kids have now is garbage.
It is.
See, you don't know no better. So let me tell you something. There's so many different strands. These dudes have taken it to a new level. Okay.
Yes.
The strands are outrageous. The technology is at its all-time high. And I'm not advocating, I'm just saying that if you go trying to get high, there's you could just rub oil on your toe and get a buzz. Okay. So that's how potent they're figuring out how to get into an altered state. So we knew about drugs then. They know drugs is woven into the tapestry of this country.
Yeah.
At this point, and it's not getting any better. People getting high is just a normal form of just living. Now remember, when we talk about yes, ma'am.
No, it's like drinking coffee in the morning for me.
Right. Think about it. We always talk about illegal drugs, but the most prevalent drug that's in this country that's being used that kills the most is nicotine. That's it. That's the most prevalent drug. But since it's not criminalized, we don't associate it with something, since you have the choice and it's not criminalized, as being so egregious as heroin or something like that. The next thing
addiction is I don't want anybody to take this wrong. But
I won't.
Addiction is addiction. And it's just that we always think of addiction with hardcore drugs. But if for those of you out there, and God forbid for me saying this because this show is Viva Cafe con Leche, but right, we are programmed, America runs on Dunkin', that kind of stuff. And if you have to have your cup of coffee, 3 cups of coffee every single day, stop it one day and just drink water and see what happens, and you will have withdrawal.
Yeah.
Those 3 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
Yes. And you need to stop talking about coffee. That's you lost your mind, young lady.
But I want to also say, I know we're going to leave, that what drives us to addiction, because I'm a smoker, I drink coffee, and I know I got to drop one of them. But what also leads you to addictions is the addiction of not putting yourself first or letting everybody walk all over you. That also leads you to addiction because you're in that state. Yeah,
because it's disempowering, and it also can bring you to a form of depression and anxiety. And again, it's all tied in. Any type of addiction it's literally, scientifically speaking, a chemical boost in your brain.
It is.
Not provide yourself with that chemical boost naturally, then you have to get it from somewhere else. And so what you get is this huge surge of dopamine, especially dopamine. And dopamine is very much associated with cocaine abuse, alcohol abuse, heroin addiction.
Yeah.
And you get it at a level that is just so exciting for people. And then when it become down, you're like, oh, I want to feel that way again, because I can't feel that way normally in my life with anything else that I do.
Isn't that scary though? Because what you just said, I need to feel that again. I drink coffee. My cigarette smoking, it's really just an oral fixation. It's that.
You can justification, rationalization, minimalization.
No, Byron, you don't get it. I'm single. It's an oral fixation.
Listen, I got it. I'm not feeding it. I'm a different guy. I'm not feeding that.
I don't want you to feed it.
I'm not feeding it. I seen you waving the cigarette. We're talking about serious substance abuse issues, and you want to talk about Pornhub.
But what I'm saying is that, shut up. What I'm saying is there's so many things that are small that can lead us down that path. There's so many things that can trigger us into having an anxiety attack that we're not aware of. And then we start cursing, or we just lose our temper. We get angry, we get sad. And, on a daily basis, we all feel that. I feel that. My overwhelmness sometimes gives my mood a knock to the ground, and then I'm the nastiest bitch you want to be
Let me
around.
tell you, I never even thought that I had anxiety issues until the day I did an MRI. And they put me, huh?
I said that'll bring it out in anybody.
I've never had a panic attack a day in my life. And they put me under that thing, and then they immobilized my neck, and the machine was going, taka, 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 taka. And I said, ma'am, how long do I got to go? She said, no, you only have a 40 more minutes.
You should have went to sleep.
I tried. I couldn't do it. I could not control my emotions and my emotionality. I couldn't do it. That's the first time in my life. I said, ma'am, you have to stop this now. She said, if I stop it, then you got to start all over again. I said, I don't know. You need to shoot me with some drugs, give me some crack. I don't care. Just get me out this machine.
Yeah.
And that's the first time sweaty palms, never experienced it a day in my life. First time I did it. So, you know what? But a lot of times people don't understand when we have issues, they're just what they are. A lot of times it's just situational. A situational issue is for that moment. And it's like a crisis, depression, when somebody wants to kill themselves. I told this young lady before, I said, you know what? She said, when I felt like I wanted to kill myself, it felt like it was going to last forever. And I said, young lady, after 15 minutes, how did you feel? She said, I want to kill myself. So I said, next time, please call us and let us know. But you got that window, that window, them voices, that window. Once you get past that time, then you're not going to feel it. So when you're feeling all that before it comes on, get around people, start talking to people. Make sure we get you some help. We can't do that anymore. But remember, a lot of times when substance abuse is connected to all of this, when you can't stop the voices and you can't stop that feeling of hurt and pain, and things are overwhelming and so much pain and from the past and and things that you try to kind of push back and you just can't push back. And when I smoke or I do this, I do feel better and I'm not feeling crazy. I don't want to beat up everybody in the house, and it works for me. Now, remember, we got a lot of different forms of addictions. You have addictions to food, addictions to, the addictions to sex, drugs. I mean, when we talk about addictions, we talking about that compulsive, that that overwhelming need to kind of always have it there for you. But remember, again, before a person becomes an addict, there's a use, there's abuse, and then there's addiction. So it's a road that you go on, and hopefully I pray that no one crosses the addiction road, because if people will argue once an addict, always an addict. People will say, no, I prayed yesterday, so I'm healed from it. So people have a lot of different things that they do with addictions, but that's another story. We could talk about recovery, addictions, and things like that on another.
Definitely do that another time.
Yes, Lillian said this needs another session.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And we are out of time. So Byron,
I know.
So much for coming on. And yeah, we definitely, Michelle's right. We need to have Byron on more often because it's just, you have such great insight on this stuff. And it's stuff that needs to be talked about because there's so much of it out there. And especially for people who want to help those around them that they love and care about, that have mental illness, and that have substance abuse, because your patience runs out when you're dealing with people that have substance abuse. When you have family members or friends, even with mental health issues, you want to try to be that great, loving person, compassionate person, but it runs out even to the most compassionate individuals. But maybe if we give them some insight that they can use or a different direction that they can go in, that they'll feel refreshed, to be able to.
Yeah, the person.
Yeah. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So
Yes, and I thank you. I thank you for adding that at the end, that addiction is not just drugs or alcohol, because people will say, well, I'm not an addict. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. But, you're doing everything else. So I thank you for that. That was very important.
Absolutely.
And thank you. Yes, thank you for your insight. So.
So on Tuesday's show, we're going to be talking about Are You Disruptive? And then on Thursday's show, which is Thanksgiving morning, we're hoping you'll tune in and as you're cooking, because we are going to have the barber on and we're going to talk about barbershop conversations, which is going to be a lot of fun. So again, thank you to our guest, Byron Roquemore, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Having him. We love having you, Byron. And everybody have an absolutely beautiful weekend. And Guru, any last comment before we do our thing?
Yes. Yeah. Aside from Iris talking shit that I answer back with one word sentences. Lillian said, phenomenal, Byron. Bring him back. I don't know, Lillian. We're still debating that issue. But yes. Thank you. Gracias.
And remember, everyone, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And when you're doing all of that, being extraordinary, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste. Bye, everybody.